and couple the graduate students' intellectual knowledge with the capability of expanding that into intuitive awareness, to give them that added capability. But we could come in with great workshops and great seminars, and the people would love it, but we weren't changing lives. And Bobby kept saying, you know, I don't think you gentlemen will get the job done because you're giving them some more intellectual knowledge, but you're not giving them the experience. And you know, we can get a lot of knowledge and we can say, this is great, but until we actually experience it ourselves, it isn't ours. It isn't a demonstrable capability. Bobby was putting together this Unlimited Futures experiential program at that point, and she just invited 7 of our friends. She said, you know, I think that I can put together a program where you can experience, not intellectually understand, but actually experience how to tap into that inner knowingness, that aha experience that will change your lives. But as she explained to the group, it's not a quick fix. It's a process over a period of time. And the one thing that she had discovered that we didn't really realize with the foundation, is that in order to experience this capability from within, our nervous systems have to be strong enough to allow that change to take place so that we don't hang on to old beliefs. We're able to let those old beliefs go. But anyway, she brought these 7 together and she put a program on for them over a period of 3 months? And it was absolutely, we don't even use the word, but it was almost miraculous what happened. It really worked. And of course, they told their friends, and then they told their friends, and the next thing you know, she had a very viable program that was fantastic. And at that point, I left the foundation and joined her. And we've been doing these programs for many years together, and thousands of people have gone through it.
I discovered that I had found a process for releasing stress and strengthening the nervous system. I know that what I discovered was that when the stress is released from the system, what actually keeps us from functioning as well as we could is all the stress in our lives. And when that stress is released, the nervous system starts to heal itself and strengthen itself. And we automatically move into a whole new level of functioning. We've all heard about stress and know about stress. Actually, the word stress is passed around an awful lot in the world today because there's a lot of it out there. Dr. Hans Selye, who dedicated his life to the study of stress, says that stress is any demand made on the body. So with that definition, we don't want a stress-free life. We want to be able to live because everything creates some degree of stress. What we want is a really strong nervous system that allows us to function well with the amount of stress that we have in our lives. And we've had very stressful days that sometimes turned into weeks and months and even years. I would venture to say anyone that does not have a process for releasing stress on a daily basis is overstressed. And what I discovered was the process that allows us to release that stress on a daily basis. And as we release that stress, what happens is the body starts healing itself. And then it starts to strengthen itself. And then we move into a whole new way of functioning. Everything would be fine if we didn't have too much stress. We didn't have more demands made on the system than it could handle. But when more demands are made on the system, that stress starts to build up. And it stores the stress in the body, just like we stack up paperwork on our desk to do when we have time. The body stores up the stress. And of course, over time, it creates damage. And it keeps us from functioning the way we could function if we didn't have the stress. If we never give the body time to release that stress, it continues to build up. And one of the things that happens is it affects our perception. One of the first things that happens, it affects our perception. Many times we don't even know we're overstressed. We find when we become overstressed that we lose our tolerance. We want everybody to do exactly what we want them to do the minute we want them to do it. And if they don't, we get upset. And so this shows up in our business relationships and in our personal relationships, because if we were not stressed, we wouldn't even think about the things that upset us otherwise. But when we're overstressed, we many times get very difficult to get along with, and we don't even know it. We think it's the other people. We think it's them that's the problem. But what the program is all about is providing an environment which allows us to get some deep, deep rest, release that stress, and strengthen the nervous system. And it will allow us to function in a totally different way. Another thing that we experience when we're overstressed, we have a decrease in energy. We just don't have quite as much energy as we had before. We'll also start to experience an uneasy feeling. Perception is not clear, and because our perception is not clear, we start making mistakes. And of course, when we realize we're making mistakes, it creates more stress. And the next thing that we'll begin to experience these mistakes, which creates more stress, and then we'll realize at some point, or we may not even actually realize it, but we start to have an uneasy feeling inside. Some people call it an emptiness, a feeling of emptiness. Some people call it anxiety. Different people talk about it in different ways, but what happens is it's very uncomfortable. And so we start trying to get rid of that feeling. We start trying to make things better. And we do all kinds of things like smoking. That's what I was doing. I was smoking to try to release the stress. We overeat. We drink too much. Some people do drugs. And what it's all about is because there's this uncomfortable feeling inside, and we're just trying to do something to take care of it. Well, of course, what happens is when we do all those things, it just makes it worse. The stress just builds up more and more, and what will happen is we will become ill. The entire body starts to malfunction because of all the stress. Almost any doctor will tell you that almost all illness is due to stress. Is at least stress-related. So illness occurs, and what we're doing is we're just going into a downward spiral that leads us to total devastation if we don't ever do anything about it. But we can make a different choice, and that's what we do with the program, and help you create a lifestyle that will release stress on a daily basis. And that's what we have to do to function from a whole different level. And what will happen is we will start to experience an increase in energy. And the mind will start becoming clear. We will start being able to perceive things from a totally different perspective. We will be able to clearly see how things work. So what's happening is the body starts to heal itself. And then once it heals itself, the nervous system, once it heals itself, it starts to strengthen itself. And as it becomes stronger and stronger, we move into a whole new level of functioning. And our awareness is expanded. We begin to see and understand that there are just principles of life or laws of nature that are governing how we ourselves are creating our experiences. And we begin to see what those are, and how we can actually work with them to create whatever we choose in our lives. We experience heightened creativity. We become very creative. We are able to, what's happening with part of the process is we're refining the energy in the mind-body system, which allows us to merge the conscious mind with the superconscious, or universal intelligence. It allows us to consciously move into the realm of all intelligence. And we come back with clarity and ideas and a way of simply knowing what to do and how to do it, how to accomplish what we want to accomplish in our lives. And that, of course, is done through intuition. We intuitively know. We can never figure it out because the intellect is limited. And we have been working within the limits of the five senses and the intellect, not realizing that it's possible for us to function from a wholly different level. So what we create is optimal health for ourselves on all levels, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, optimal health, and that is, the end result is what Maslow calls self-actualization. We actually can be in charge of our lives, create whatever we choose.